It's Celtic here once again doing another NECA figure review on NECA's Godzilla 2014 action figure. Such an amazing figure. I have kind of a neutral opinion of this figure. Don't get me wrong, I love NECA's work on their figures and so forth, but to me, it's kind of like a hit or miss in certain areas, which I'll go into specifics later, but overall, it kind of impresses me in the end, especially for a Godzilla figure. But yeah, and I know it's kind of late for me to do a review of this guy because he's been out for months already, and everybody pretty in Toy World and Godzillas and stuff like that, review this guy already. But again, everybody has an opinion, so do I, and plus it's sort of purpose because apparently I'm doing a review on the SH Martial Arts following of this figure here. So yeah, I'll be doing some quite amount of detailed comparisons to, let people know which one is better for the terms of price and so forth. But there is the Godzilla figure, and again, it really impressed me a lot. I did not expect this much from NECA. From the side, or from the prototype figures, it looks impressive, but at the same time, I don't know, articulation wise and detail will be this fantastic. But yeah, certain areas that could have been better. But before I go into more of this figure, let's take a quick look at the packaging. Packaging for this figure, I would say, is kind of a bit redundant, but yeah, you have a typical, NECA packaging and the window display. And again, I say redundant because you see Godzilla twice. See the background, the illustration art, and so forth. And you have Godzilla being displayed in the packaging as well. It's kind of lame, but for me, I love NECA's packaging of these figures, and I thought a better simplistic would have been better, like say a black background and up top you see the Godzilla logo there. It would be nice, see a plain background with that Godzilla and as well as Japanese characters. That's it. It would have been really nice, but overall, I guess, it's a hit or miss. But yeah, I kind of like, the little detail there. It says Godzilla with this little tail in the back there. It says warning, 18 is for and up, for adult collectors only, I guess so. I wouldn't know. Then you have the packaging that says, Godzilla right there, and above there you have a Godzilla with a logo and the helicopter swerving around there. And, a brief bio of Godzilla if you want to pause it now. Or I could just read it for the base of a few seconds. I just pretty much stand in silence to actually read the bio. But here's a nice looking up close look of the figure. Not too bad. You can see more detail in the yellow eyes. Very nice, impressive. And you see the bottom of San Francisco and so forth. So yeah. Oh, and here we go. This is celebrating Godzilla's 60th birthday. So really not too bad. Not a bad packaging. But let's go back to the figure itself. Before I mention that, it comes in like one piece there, so you got to attach it. It was kind of a pain, but again, get more into detail later. But yeah, let's go back to the figure in detail. Starting with the telescope, looks very impressive. It actually kind of captures the likeness of Godzilla. I mean, as you can see from the front, got that nice snout there and the little teeth there, which kind of, the little things that kind of gets to me for really lame reasons. And it's just like, in the previous Godzilla models, and especially in the suits, Godzilla had like larger teeth, and this one has very little, but it's not too bad in the end. I mean, it's really impressive how they created this CGI version of Godzilla. And sorry for the lighting of my camera, but you can see right there the little yellow painted backgrounds. That's actually the eye pupil sticking out. A very impressive amount of detail on NECA's part. I mean, it's just, they astonish me and it, wow me constantly. I mean, I love the detail there. You got the scales there and the little brown paint from his neck to his chest. Going around from, there as well. Get a better lighting view. There you go. Kind of got that turtle stomach or hard shell thing going around there. Very impressive. And the dorsal fins turn out really nice, and especially they're made of pliable plastic. It's very interesting. So that way, in case your kids grab a hold of them and trying to fight their siblings with this figure, they don't have to worry about them stabbing so hard. They're pliable. I mean, it's still tough, but still pliable. It's actually not gonna poke their eye out or anything like that. Well, they will poke an eye out, but still not as damaging as it was made of hard plastic and sharp pointy ends. But yeah, they're bendable, so not to worry about that. But, another thing about this figure I like so much, or get the new version model of Godzilla, is his dorsal fins. I mean, I love the Godzilla. I mean, it's silly and kind of ridiculous as it sounds, but I love his dorsal fins. I mean, every Godzilla that came out from one film to the other, and, the redesigns, I love his dorsal fins. And in this movie, he looks actually fantastic, and you can see, how it is in the ocean swimming scenes, how it is. Kind of recapture the same thing. I mean, look at that, a nice traditional 3-row of the dorsal fins. I like that a lot. Very sculpted, very nicely. Love that a lot. Although I kind of wish they were colored differently, not only from the figure but the movie as well, so that way we could separate them. Kind of black and black. And I mean, it's nice and all, but still, I mean, will stand out just a bit more. But again, continuing on with the nice little detail, the scaly body of Godzilla, very interesting. And there is the infamous webbing hands of Godzilla. Remembering how the internet react to the overall final version of the figure, has a head of a bear, hands of a hands kind of like a feet, the feet of a duck for hands, and noticeably here is the elephant feet for feet. I mean, before I get to the feet, I'll just continue on with the figure and its legs right there, very nice, thick and meaty. Kind of weird with describing the figure, but that's how I see it. It's kind of funny how they sculpted his crotch area. I mean, it kind of sticks out more in a really funny way. I don't know why, but yeah. And going back, before I go into the tail, let's go to his feet. Very interesting, but yeah, kind of a bit awkward looking if I'm not mistaken. I mean, like in the previous Godzillas, their feet kind of stand out and separated, but this is like way too close and rarely odd. I mean, yeah, they kind of do look like elephant feet in the end. That's why the internet's so ridiculously and relentlessly, made fun of it so much. It's just ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it could have been designed a little better. But, Godzilla looks beast in the end, so those doesn't really matter about how the feet looks. It's kind of silly. And then going on with the tail, very impressive. Continue on with the pliable material, the dorsal fins, as well as towards the end of the tip right there. But yeah, very nice, impressive quality that NECA does with this figure. I mean, it really surprised me see how nicely sculpted the tongue is. I mean, you could actually lift the sucker up if my nail could actually get to it, and well, sort of, maybe a little bit. Oh yeah, see, there you go. Not too bad. Very impressive. Love that a lot. I mean, just amazing. And yeah, his mouth move up and down, which I'll get into more articulation later. But yeah, NECA does a really fantastic job in this Godzilla. Love it a lot. So the articulations for this figure is really not that bad, but could have been a lot better in certain areas, more ways than one. But yeah, his head doesn't look up that much, unfortunately. It just looks up. Well, it depends if you straighten out his legs a little more, then he'll look up more like so forth. But not too bad, I mean, really. But he does look down, not so much unless you get him to his feet, to look down. Then he will actually look down a little bit more, but not too much though. His head is on the pivot as well, tilt left and right and get a range amount of motion. And his neck too, different range of motion left to right, and it does pivot as well. His upper diaphragm joint is separated. He's got this nice huge gap in the back. Well, it's not nice, but kind of irritating. But yeah, and the range of motion is very nice as well. It doesn't ab crunch much. It can go back not much and forward just a little bit, so it can rock back and forth. And let's see, his legs are kind of what it kills it in the end, because if you do certain poses, well, it kind of has a weird joint right there. See a little gaping area, kind of like that curve, which crevice sort of thing going on there. It's kind of weirdly weird on that look, but so overall, I mean, it's not too bad. Go 360 if you could, but I really don't want to. His knees bend real, not that far in, but really impressive for this figure as well. But you can straighten his legs out really that much as well. That's what really kind of impressive. It can go bend a little forward more than it does back, which is kind of odd, but still impressive nonetheless. His feet can, rotate left and right. Does have a good amount of ankle pivot as well. Not too shabby in this figure. Oh, and I forgot to mention his hands. That's 90-degree bending motion. Hands can rotate and go in and out, nice as well. And the tail is kind of really impressive. And I think NECA took a real few pages from Monster Arts, because apparently it has let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 different, well, 3 towards the end of this tail, but yeah, 3 separate joints of motion for this figure, so you can rotate it and get a nice, interesting pose of this figure, so. I mean, that's kind of really impressive in NECA's part. And also the end part has this little bendy wire tip, so yeah, you have Godzilla actually curve his tail towards him if you want, so so. That is really impressive, and I think the tail is kind of long too so far in Godzilla, but I could be mistaken, unless the 2000 tail is a lot more longer than this figure, but not too shabby as well. Plus, you can straighten out this tail flat out, see, just pretty much laid to the ground and so forth, and then you can have Godzilla, trailing it rather than just having it up in the air as much as so. But yeah, they really took a chapter of the Monster Arts articulation. It was really impressive, and they really kind of execute real well in this figure. I really liked it a lot. But yeah, this is the part where you kind of attach it from the packaging, so it's a bit loose on mine, or probably loose in general, but at the same time, I mean, it's not too bad. It can still hold on its own, but just not too much, having up, well, maybe so if you work on it a little more. But yeah, Articulation is pretty good. I mean, I love it. It's, again, like I said, from NECA's point, making the first Godzilla figure, I mean, it's really impressive to me. You know, love it. So for a size comparison, here he is going against Crimson Typhoon from NECA's Pacific Rim action figure. No, I don't have Gypsy Danger, unfortunately, because I'm still waiting on the version 2 of Gypsy Danger. So yeah, so I unfortunately didn't get on the first run. But yeah, there he comes close to it. He's a bit shorter from the Jaegers, apparently. I kind of wish he was kind of like the same height as the Jaegers, but if not a little bit taller. But yeah, for a decent size Godzilla figure, it's pretty not too shabby. And here he is compared to, on the left, the SH Martial Arts 2014 Godzilla, which is not too bad. I mean, he's kind of a little bit taller, but if I straighten out Godzilla from SH Martial Arts just a little bit more, he does kind of stand a little bit, towers over more of the NECA's Godzilla figure. So, yeah, almost there. I mean, like, kind of decent height, in my opinion. So, in the end, NECA really does impress me with this figure a lot. I mean, it turns out a whole lot better than I expected in the final product, and plus, he's a good amount of... The fun factor in this guy is really impressive. I mean, it's sky high. I couldn't put this guy down after I opened the packaging from this guy. I mean, it's really impressive. You know, couldn't stop posing this guy, regardless how the mold is and how very little motion around the articulation of certain parts of the figure. But to be honest, I think this guy is, in some areas, more notably the body rather than dorsal fins and so forth. But he does really, the NECA does a really good job of capturing the likeness of Godzilla. I mean, SH Martial Art version looks a little bit different, but for certain reasons, which I'll do in that review later. But yeah, if you want to get the actual representation of the good Godzilla from the film, I mean, this is the way to go. I mean, NECA does such a great, incredible job. I mean, it's highly recommendable, and plus the price point, you really can't beat it. I mean, like $21, 21 to $25 for, you know, on Toys R Us or retail, compared to Monster Arts, which costs like $60 to $80. You know, that's kind of a steal right there. I mean, you can't really go wrong. So it kind of saves you on a price point. But yeah, it's pretty much the way to go. If I could get my damn camera to focus more. I don't know why this is actually doing this to me. Okay, there we go. But yeah, money-wise, you want to save and like get the best Godzilla action figure, by all means get the NECA. But if you're really true avid Godzilla fan, you know, get the SH Martial Arts. But I'll get into detail in the next video. But yeah, that's like my review. I hope you guys enjoy it and find it very informative in more ways than one, even though it's kind of a bit late on the review. But yes, if you liked the video, please don't forget to comment about the video, and plus if you're interested in seeing more of my reviews, subscribe as well. But yeah, this is Celtic here. Until then, guys, see ya.